Welcome, everybody, to Tammy Tuesday, the podcast of life, love, and purpose. We're happy that you could join us today. I'm very excited. I'm doing a solo cast today, and I'm going to be talking about manifestation as it relates to masculine and feminine energy. This is a very near and dear topic to me because I have undergone dramatic changes in my life as I've become to understand what this actually means and what it is. So I'll start talking about manifestation. There are many people that don't believe that that's an actual thing. And I promise you it is. We all do it. We've all done it. We will continue to do it because honestly, we are all supernatural beings. We come here with gifts and powers that we have no idea that are out of our scope. And I'll tell you why. That is typically because we embrace masculine energy. And when I talk about masculine and feminine energy, I want to be very clear that I'm not referring to male and female. I'm talking to energy. So let me start by talking about energy and what energy is. So energy is everything. It's in the seen, it's in the unseen. That's been scientifically proven. We are living in an atomic world and there is energy all around us. So even if you cannot see it, it still exists. So when we vibrate, because all energy vibrates at different frequencies. So when we see things in our physical world, that's because we're vibrating at the same rate that we can see those things. But that doesn't mean that there aren't things vibrating at different rates that we cannot see. So the difference between masculine and feminine energy is that all beings, all of everything encompasses both. So what that means, if to put it into terms that make sense to us as people, masculine refers to physical, it refers to intention, it refers to labor, it relates to all things that we feel in this physical space that we embody here in these bodies. Feminine energy relates to emotion. It relates to spirituality. It relates to so many different things that we cannot see. So again, there's that difference between things that you can see and that you cannot see. There's a big correlation between feminine and masculine energy in those two types of things as well as we see them as people. So as we grow and experience things, we start to realize the more aware we become of the energies that are around us, even if we can't physically see them or touch them, that they truly exist. The coolest thing about it is as people that walk in these bodies, in this plane, on this planet, we still have the power to access that energy, even if we can't see it. So that's where manifestation comes into play, because what happens is, as a person, we can't see all of the different energetic possibilities there are of potentials that exist out there. So people talk about different timelines, different realities, different realms, different dimensions, where there's multiple versions of us doing similar things or have a different storyline or a different timeline. That is a real thing because all potentials exist at the same time. Those are part of the unseen energies. So the unseen energies we can tap into. The magic sauce is when you can combine intention / masculine energy with emotion / feminine energy. So what happens is when you can relate, the best way to put this is we think about emotion and we think about it can be a bad thing. We become over emotional. It takes us over. Either we're sad or we're overwhelmed, we have anxiety, all of these things that kind of come in on us. But honestly, those are the things that give us awareness to what's really going on, to the energies that we cannot see. So when we can step back and become an observer of those emotions that are triggering us or that are making us respond in a certain way and see them for what they are, they can make us respond in a way that actually is favorable to what we actually want, which is at the end of the day, it's joy, happiness, peace, all of the things that make us feel good as people and as souls and beings. So the gift in this is to see when you're so many people, well-known people that you've heard of talk about these things. Wayne Dyer, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Megan Watterson talks about it in the book that I just finished reading. Mary Magdalene Revealed talks a lot about feminine energy. There's so many people out there that have tapped into this. Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, they write about it. They talk about the vortex of our creation. The truth is we truly are all creators. And what that means is that we have these supernatural gifts to create the lives that we want. And I have to tell you, this has become so real in my life. I'll back up and I'll start by telling you that it's become very clear to me that for the large majority of my adult life, well, my life, maybe not my whole life, because as a child, I think things are always a little different. But as my adult life, I have been operating in my masculine energy. So I've been off kilter. And what that's led to is doing things the manual way. It's been, you work harder to get the things that you want. You have to work to get what you want. And it's worked. It's worked just fine. I've lived in that energy and I've worked harder and I've gotten exactly what I wanted. So you could call that manifestation, right? But honestly, the difference between that and embracing feminine energy is feminine energy. You don't have to work so hard. You actually magnetize it. It comes to you. And what stands behind that door is when you can feel, and this is where the emotion comes in. If you can feel as though you've already received whatever it is you're after, things like gratitude, joy, peace, happiness, love, those types of feelings are what generate your potentials of actually manifesting those things into your life, the things that actually create that in your life. So when we actually feel those things, even before we have them for the things that we want or that we're trying to get to, that's when they start combining with intention in our physical masculine energy selves. And that's when it starts to surface and actually become a reality in this physical realm. So for me, it's been happening more and more frequently as I started walking on my spiritual path. But the more I've understood truly how the pieces of masculine and feminine energy combined actually create manifestation, it's been mind-blowing. I mean, it really has been mind-blowing. I can't even tell you. So having come from a heavy masculine energy with the way I operate in life, the way I've operated in life for so long, of course, I've accomplished all kinds of things, and I've done it very much the manual way. I mean, even down to the car that I drive. I love to drive stick shift. I love to drive a manual. I've always loved to drive a manual. I love it. It makes me feel empowered. It's like my way of having control. It makes me feel good. It makes me happy, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. That's great, whatever. But the point is, everything that I've done, I've realized that I had to, in order to get it, I had to work harder. And now, as I've started to sort of shift more into my feminine energy, I'm realizing, wow, honestly, if I can feel through what it is that I'm after and experience and vibrate at higher vibrations of those positive feelings and emotions, and I want something as I'm doing that, and I'm after something, success, abundance, happiness, peace, whatever it is in my life, they start to show up. So things have been manifesting in my life the more I have swung over onto the feminine side, because that's really where that works. They have to play together. So let's talk about huge icons in our world and in our history. Jesus Christ, Gandhi. There's so many people. Buddha. There's so many beings and people that have had experiences here where they have created manifestation, or they've created ultimate spirituality or enlightenment, as people call it, which really, this is the funniest part about it. It's not about achieving enlightenment, because truthfully, in this physical realm, we don't experience enlightenment because we're here to just experience. And that is part of our enlightenment as a soul. So what happens is, if we're after ascension and we want to live in this spiritual realm of extreme feminine energy, where all we're tapped into is spirituality and magnification and mystical experiences and things that are very heavy on the feminine side, we miss the point of actually getting to feel and see something tangible. And it brings a whole new existence and experience to our reality. So it's so crucial for these two things to dance together. So in my walk, as I've learned and as I continue to learn, is that the more I have embraced, well, first it's awareness. I've become aware, because awareness is key to everything. As soon as you can be aware of something that's going on with yourself, you can then make changes because you're aware of something new, right? So for me, my awareness was, gosh, I've done all these things, and I've talked about this on my solo podcast before about being an overachiever and a workaholic and all the manual masculine, feminine, or masculine energy things. And I've realized that those are all fine and well, but they've led me to exhaustion. And so it was time to make a shift. New awareness, I'm exhausted, time for a shift. So when I started to step into this and start to learn and understand information and knowledge from books and YouTube videos and movies and all kinds of things, I then started to implement them into my experience. So I didn't just read these things. I took the knowledge and it has now become wisdom for me in my own experience. And what's happened is miraculous. I have truly experienced what that feels like and what is possible. Will I ever achieve, the ultimate manifestation of my life? I don't know. Do I think it's possible? Absolutely. Do I think anything's possible? Do I think everything's possible? Absolutely. People have been witnessed and have experienced miraculous healings of health, things like cancer. We've talked about that on this podcast. People have experienced abundance and money and wealth beyond their wildest dreams that they've manifested. People can manifest anything that they want. The truth behind manifestation is not just going after what you want. It's how do you want to feel? Do you want to feel free? Do you want to feel like you have everything that you need, that you're taken care of, that you feel secure, that you can be free to spend time and energy with the people that you love, that you have time and energy to spend time doing the things that make you happy for yourself, all on your own? These are the things that you're really after. When you can visualize what that feels like, true freedom and peace and joy, and then you attach intention with it, it can appear for you. So the best way to practice this is to really focus on keeping your energy level high. In fact, just before I started this recording, I was talking to one of the gals in here, and we were talking about, she told me about a book called I Do, or Leading Up to I Do, I think it's called. And it's all about manifestation in relationships. And this is truly speaking directly about male, female, and finding your mate. And how what happens with people in their manifestation, because we manifest things whether we realize it or not. And it's not always a good manifestation. In fact, a lot of times it's the manifestation that we don't want. So for instance, in a relationship, there are so many single people out there that continue to manifest the same personality in a different person. So they're constantly in the same trap of relationship after relationship after relationship where they get stuck because they're drawing in the same energy. So what's happening is that they're manifesting that over and over again because they've attached these emotions to it. So what's happened is the reason they're manifesting is the emotions that they've attached to these negative relationships that they have not had success with, that leads to it ending and going into another one, and it happens again, is that they feel their emotions again are what's leading them to feel like that's the only thing there. That's the only thing possible. So their intention is to have a relationship, right? But their feeling behind it is, well, I'm never going to find the right person because this is what happens every time. Every time I always pull in the wrong person. Well, that's just going to be, it's the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It's the law of attraction. That's what you're putting out there. That's your emotions and your feelings behind it. So therefore that is what you're manifesting. So the shift that has to happen in your life to manifest something different, something better, is the positive, energetic emotions behind it. And that truly is feminine energy, which every person on this planet has. We all have both masculine and feminine energy. So when you can harness both of them in the emotional and spiritual realm, along with the tangible, physical, intentional realm, that's when the magic appears. You can truly bring to life in this physical realm the things that you're after to achieve those positive emotions and energies that you're after. So my biggest message behind this is to first become aware. Take a look, take inventory of your life. Look at the things that you're disenamored with in your life, whether it's a job, you're unhappy in your marriage, your relationship, your parenting, your relationship with your family, your own parents. Maybe it's whatever it is, there's so many different scenarios in everybody's life. Maybe it's that you lost somebody had died and you cannot seem to get over it. There's so many things that you can manifest positively in your life that can change how you feel and what becomes your reality. And it all starts with your emotion and intention and the energy that you put behind that, because that creates a higher vibing energy that then can bring to surface that potential, that possibility, that other dimension that that already exists out there that you just cannot, again, the unseeable. It all of a sudden becomes part of your reality in this physical world. So again, when people want to achieve enlightenment's great, but we all have that when we're not here. We're all enlightened. We all ascend, right? We all ascend. Save that for when you really ascend. When you're here, have this experience. Realize how magical you can be here now. The biggest key to all of that is that you have to be in the present moment. We all create a lot of, I'm reading the book right now, and you'll hear me probably reference some of the things that are said in there by Dr. Joe Dispenza, is Becoming Supernatural. It's a great book. And it talks about understanding how, and Eckhart Tolle talks about it in his book, The Power of Now. There is nothing like the present moment. The present, and when I say present, I mean there's no future, no past. What does that mean? I'll explain. But when you truly are in the present, that's the only place these things can happen. You have to live in the present moment without a past future. So we all look at our future based on our past. That's where we get stuck. That's why we cannot move through it. That's why we can't experience something new. That's why we can't create a new reality, because we're living in a future that's based on our past, right? So if we can remember to come back to our present, which really is the only reality there is this given second, this moment right now. That's all that's real. This is the only moment that's real. You can't predict what's going to happen in 2 seconds from now. What's happened behind you 2 seconds has been done. It's done. It's over. You can't do anything about it. It's done, right? So what are you doing in this present moment? How are you thinking? How are you feeling? What are your intentions? What is it that you're trying to create in your future? It's based on your present moment and how you feel. So when you can combine that intention and emotion with something positive, and you have intention behind it, because again, intention is a physical masculine thing. It's a beautiful thing. That's what this whole experience of these bodies is. It's a masculine energy. So why wouldn't we combine our natural energy, our soul energy, which is more spiritual, more emotional, more from the inside? Why wouldn't we combine it with the outside? Because that's what we actually experience. That's what creates the experience. So the thing that I love about it, so for me personally, so many things, as I've swayed into more feminine energy, and I will tell you, it's easy to swing really hard one way or the other. I've already swung really hard in the masculine way. And as I started to walk and discover my spirituality and my soul self through self-love, I became extremely feminine. But it's so funny how much it changed me. And honestly, for the better, not just according to me, but to others that know me. I mean, things affect me so differently now than they used to. I have gotten so feminine, which again, you have to play with both. You can't be one or the other, because that's where you can get lost. But when I was so far into the feminine, I was after that enlightenment piece. I thought, well, gosh, I want to be supernatural all the time. And I want to feel like I can do anything. And I want to feel free. Now that's all wonderful things to go after and to feel. But what I realized is that I was missing what's right here, right now, in this physical reality that I'm living. I don't have to try to get somewhere. I need to be right now. Right now. This is where I live. I live in this body. I've gotten to borrow this beautiful body that lives on this plane that I chose to come and incarnate into. Wow, awesome. So why would I waste this experience? Why would I waste my time here with trying to be somewhere that I don't need to be, where actually I have it. It's right now. I have this feminine energy. It's inside of me. But so is this physical side. So is this masculine energy. I have both of them right now in the present moment. So that's what I'm getting after. So what started to happen was, as I became more aware of this masculine and feminine energy and how they play together, and figures like Jesus Christ, for example, that's what a lot of the Mary Magdalene Revealed book by Megan Watterson talks about, is how so much of that feminine energy, and it does correlate literally in the physical form to a man and a woman, because Mary was a woman and Jesus was a man. But if you think about it on a spiritual level, and what was happening in those two different beings was the two of them, as masculine and feminine energies, the reason they were so close, and the reason that they decided to be so close in their relation in the earthly plane, is because they both had achieved the understanding of both. They understood what embracing their masculine energy was, along with their feminine energy, and they did it together. So they were close. There's gospels that Mary has written that were never included in the Bible. And that was also another play that came into existence when the Bible was created. There's nothing wrong with the Bible. The Bible has many beautiful stories, but the Bible is not all encompassing. It leaves out many stories from not just Mary, but other prophets and other disciples that followed, and have other stories that were not included for reasons of masculine energy and power. So that's how they were able to, in religion, create a narrative, right? Where women didn't have that. And again, that was relating directly to female or a female body, a female human. But really, truly, that's feminine energy, because what goes to masculine, it's more the physical, the power, the manual, the intention, right? Which is a lot of the Bible. I'm not bashing the Bible in any way. The Bible is a beautiful book. It has many beautiful stories, and it has different meanings for everybody that reads it. But there are also lots of other scriptures out there that don't exist in the Bible. So you should check those out. That's what I learned when I read that book, is that masculine and feminine energy were not included both as much in that book as they are in other places. So that was something that I learned in the story of Mary Magdalene. But in my own experience, as far as manifestation goes, as soon as I started to realize how powerful masculine and feminine energy are when it comes to manifestation and creating things, the more I was able to create that for myself. Some amazing things have happened. There's so much magnetism in feminine energy, but I'm trying to think of who it was that said this. Somebody talks about, another author talks about how you can create something or magnetize something, but what use is it if it's not really in your physical existence? So in order to magnetize something to you, it has to have meaning in your physical world, right? So for me, as I started to embrace the fact that I have to manually put something into action, actually, I think it was somebody we talked on this podcast, how you can't just, you can manifest and you can imagine, right? Imagination is another huge thing. Mark Victor Hansen talked a lot about that. That's a lot of Wayne Dyer's message too, is that when you imagine, again, you're picturing what it is that you're after and the emotion that you already have it behind it. That's when the magic happens, because it's in the now. You're feeling that emotion now. You're not waiting to get it to feel that emotion. You're feeling that emotion now as if you already have it, because truthfully, you do. You're just not seeing it yet. It already exists. You have it. You have everything you want. You have everything you need. You have every desire that's possible for you, but you just can't see it. Again, energy is everywhere. It's in the most dense energy is in the things that we can't even see. So those are the possibilities that exist. They're full timelines. They're full possibilities. They're existences that we already have access to, that we own, that we're part of, but we just haven't brought them into our physical existence yet. So we have to bring them in. We have to magnetize them. So for me, when I magnetize things now, it's amazing the magic that can happen. Not only have I literally brought in money from nowhere, I mean, literally nowhere. It's happened 3 different occasions now within the past month. And I'm not joking. And I'm talking decent sums of money that are helping me create my next business. They came from literally me believing that I had it. And I'm not joking when I say that. It is so possible, because I now understand it, because I put it to practice. I put it to work. Not just that, but the people. So I'm creating this new business. And the second I said yes, and I was excited, again, feeling an emotion, the second I was excited about what I knew was coming, even though it didn't exist yet, the people started showing up. The resources and the people that I needed to make this a reality just started showing up. And I was like, Eric, my husband and I, it's like, you can't make this stuff up. You just can't make it up. So it is very, very real, and it can be very, very real for you. Even simple things that you don't think about. Think about this, for instance. You've manifested things and you don't realize it. So let's say you're sitting at home and you're craving some ice cream. And gosh, I really wish I had some ice cream. I don't want to go to the store to get it, right? And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, you get a call from your husband or your roommate or somebody, and they're like, I'm at the grocery store. Do you need anything? Or not even that. All of a sudden, your husband or your roommate or somebody walks in the door, and in their groceries, they have a carton of ice cream. And you're like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking I wanted some ice cream. And here it is, right? That's real. You know why? Because you were excited about that feeling. You know what it felt like to taste that ice cream, and you wanted that ice cream, and you had this thought and this intention of, this is possible in physical reality. I know ice cream exists. I know what it tastes like and what it feels like, and that I want it, and it makes me happy, and I'm hungry, and that sounds delicious. That all combined, that manifestation coming to you. That is true magnification of manifestation, right? That's just one little example. Or let's say you're thinking about somebody and you're really missing somebody, or they just kind of pop in your head. And all of a sudden your phone rings, and then there they are. So that could be a combination of things. Again, we're all supernatural, right? Either you manifested that communication to occur because you thought about that person. You thought, oh, well, it's possible I could talk to this person. All they are is a phone call away. But yet you didn't take the action to do it, but you knew the feeling behind talking to them, whether it was nostalgic, or you knew they needed to talk to you, or you needed to talk to them, whatever the drive was behind it. Again, the feeling you embraced in that present moment created it to happen. It brought it right to your reality. These things happen to us every day. If we can just start paying attention to the signs, there are signs, it's gonna make me cry. There are signs everywhere. And if you can see the signs, it's magic. It just blows my mind. And the more aware we can be of these things, the more they come into our existence. And it's like, and again, like I was talking about relationships, we keep recreating and manifesting the same things over and over again. The more we recognize these miracles, the more they show up. They don't stop. It's incredible. I've experienced it so much in my life that I can't even express how real it is. It's real. It's very, very real. And I just want it for everybody, because it's magic. It's so much bigger than us. We're so much more powerful and beautiful than we have any idea. And it starts with hope. It starts with love. It starts with awareness of yourself. And again, that's where the self-love stuff comes in. And that's what I'm all about, because it truly starts there. You have to love yourself first. And the second you start putting yourself first and start pouring that love into yourself, you become more aware. And the more aware you become, the easier it gets to bring these things into your life. You start to see everything differently. There are so many things that move over me. I was talking about this earlier. I'll come back to it. In my relationships, things that used to, something would be said to me and it would trigger a past emotion of something that hurt, right? That was hurtful. And someone said something to me to bring that up again. In my past, before I started understanding how this works, it would really upset me to the point where I could not get over it for a long time, days. It would take me days. I'd be upset. We'd be in a fight, whatever the thing happened. Now I'm truly able to see it for what it is, realize that whatever it was that was said truly has nothing to do with me, because what was said is something that's in the past that is not my reality anymore. It doesn't matter what's said, because that's not real. The only thing real is right now. And my reality is my reality. And somebody saying something about my past is not my reality anymore. So I can truly remove myself from that scenario and observe it from over here and say, oh my gosh, wow, this person that's saying this to me is having their own experience. They're really hurt. And it's prompting them to say something that's trying to hurt me. But I'm in control of how I feel. So they can say that to me, but do I have to feel the way they want me to feel by saying that? No, that's my choice. That has nothing to do with me. In fact, it has all to do with me. I get to choose how I feel about that. And trust me, I have been tested and tested and tested. And I'm realizing, wow, this is really truly how I am living now. I see things differently. I recover from things and pain and adversities much more quickly. I am not immune to adversity. I am not immune to pain. In fact, I heard just yesterday, I had a new awareness of a friend of mine that passed away, and I did not know. I knew she was battling cancer, and I hadn't talked to her for almost a month. And I found out that she passed away, and I did not know. And I think the shock when I found out really, really got me. I mean, it really got me. I mean, I was sobbing and sobbing. And it was, yes, I was sad, but it was more a shock because I thought that she was on the path to recovery. And so that's why we weren't communicating as much, because I was in full belief that she was truly getting better. And in fact, she was not. And I don't think even she realized how bad it was for her, but that's beside the point. My point in saying all of that is that we are not immune to real life pain and adversity. People die, people hurt us. We have experiences that can truly stir up emotions in us that we don't like: anger, sadness, depression, hopelessness. Those are real emotions, and they're not bad. They're not bad. They're beautiful. Embrace that. That's part of being a human. We need to embrace our emotions. There's nothing wrong with having emotions. Where we get stuck is that we fester there. Yes, have the emotions, have a real human experience, but you know what? The more awareness you have around what's really at work here, the more quickly you can move through those emotions. And the more quickly you can return back to love and joy and peace. And those heightened negative emotions become less and less penetrable to you. Yes, they still exist. You are not immune to them. You never will be. Not in this realm, because it's real and they're there for a reason. Again, masculine, feminine energy. They're there for a purpose. So allow them to be there, but stay in the present moment. And the more you can stay there and understand what that means for you, the better you're going to be, the more happy you're going to be, the better life you're going to live, the more compassion you're going to have for people and yourself. And forgiveness. Oh my gosh, forgiveness is another one. That's a huge thing. That's one of those positive emotions like gratitude, joy, compassion. Those are positive emotions that you can feel in the moment when you're manifesting. So forgiveness is a big one, because forgiveness feels good. When you can truly forgive, whether it's you're forgiving yourself or you're forgiving someone else, it's very freeing. It suddenly feels like the weight has been lifted. There's no negative feeling behind it. It's like all of a sudden it's a relief, right? It's a relief. Forgiveness is a relief. So for me, I recently forgave someone who I was bitter at for a decision that had been made. It had to do with financial situation. This was a long time ago, over a year ago. Not that I was living every day being mad at this person, but I was frustrated and I didn't understand it. And I was kind of irritated about it. And I finally this literally happened a couple days ago. I chose to forgive them. And this was in private. I mean, I privately chose, why am I mad? I don't need to be mad at this person. This person's a beautiful person. I've loved every bit of our relationship. Like, there's nothing wrong with this person, even though we don't communicate much anymore. I decided to forgive this person. And literally 2 days later, the money that we were arguing about showed up that had to do with that person. And I'm not even joking. Like, that's how powerful it is. I didn't even know I was doing it. That's the beauty of manifestation. You don't even realize half the time that you're doing it. It's behind your emotion and your intention. If your best goal is to just feel joy and peace and love for yourself, things naturally gravitate to you, because that's what you're trying to serve yourself. If you want to live in self-victimization mode, you're going to get more and more and more of that. It's just going to dish itself right back at you, because that's what you're dishing out to yourself. So I feel that this message is so important for so many people because I know many people that get stuck in these ruts, and I'm included in that. I've done it many times. I've done it for a great portion of my life. But I can tell you that the shifts that I've made in my life and having these understandings and these new experiences, which I now call wisdom because I understand how they work and what they feel like when they work. That's what I mean by wisdom. It's so beautifully powerful, and it really reminds me just how much of a light I am, you are, all the energy around me is, and how powerful it is. So again, awareness is everything, and the more we can embrace our light and help people remember their light, it just serves everyone and everything, all the energy around us, and it's truly our path to making this world a better place. I mean, people say they want peace on earth. Well, that can't exist if we can all get to that point. And it starts with you. It really starts with you. There's the Michael Jackson song, The Man in the Mirror. I love that song. The lyrics in that song are so beautifully powerful. It starts with you. It starts with awareness. It starts with realizing that if you want to see something different outside of you, you need to start right here because you're just as responsible as anything outside of you. So why would you not start here? And what happens is that ripple effect. So start with the man in the mirror. Start with yourself. Start pouring that love and forgiveness and joy and compassion to you and embrace your feminine energy. That's where that comes from. But remember that you are human and they go together. And that's a beautiful gift that we get. That's why we chose to come here, is to experience. In fact, it's the most brilliant design, if you think about it. We came here and we decided to incarnate into these bodies to have this experience, even through all the pain, even through all the adversity, even through all the beautiful things, everything that we're experiencing here. We knew that coming in. So we get to relearn that. When you relearn something, and then you can even start to teach it, because that's what happens. Once you start feeling and experiencing these things, you naturally want to share it, right? And I don't mean teach like in a condescending way. I mean, you just want to share it. That's what I'm doing here. I'm just sharing my own experience. The more we do that with each other, because we all can do it, right? And that's why I love having the conversations that I have here on this podcast. That's why I started this podcast, so I can have these conversations so people can share their experience with other people. Because when people hear these things, it lights something up in them to say, well, if it's possible for them, then it's possible for me. And there is no bigger truth than that. You are light. You are love. You are powerful. You're supernatural. You are a soul and a light source. You are connected to source. You are connected to all things. We are all connected. We are unity. So the more awareness and attention you can put to that, the more love and compassion you'll experience in your life. So that's what I'll leave you with. I hope this was helpful. Again, this is a really passionate topic for me. You can see it. I got very emotional. That's just my vulnerability shining through. But I hope this is helpful to you. And I hope that you can start to really put this to practice in your own life, because there is nothing more beautiful than when you can realize these things are possible for you, because they really are. Always sending you with endless love and light. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Tammy Tuesday Life, or our website, tammytuesday.com, and for more information that might be helpful to you. And again, sending you with love and light. And remember, life, love, and purpose, it all begins with you. Peace out.